He's got Armia with him. He shoots. He scores.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Pucks and Pine Tar podcast. I am your host, Blake Fries, alongside my co-host, Seth Hagen. Seth, lots going on in the baseball. We're going to start with a bombshell that got dropped on us about a week ago now. Albert Pujols, DFA'd, basically cut from the Angels. A guy who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. But, man, I did not see this coming. Albert, a legend, a lot of milestones, 33 homers away from 700. Did this surprise you as much as it did to me?
It didn't surprise me, and when you say you didn't see it coming, there was talks this summer between the team and Albert about this apparently. His wife, I remember, put something out. She put a statement out to some magazine saying it was going to be his last year, and then she was made to take it back and retract it. Basically, I bet you Albert said, hey, I still want to play. Don't say that stuff in the media. So you knew something was up, and especially with Ohtani DHing, with Walsh at first base, who they really want to give more time to. I mean, in the American League, Albert works perfectly as a DH. Well, guess who's got one of the best DHs in the league? The Angels do. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it came as a surprise, but if you take a deep dive into his numbers, he's been declining for years, man. And yes, Hall of Famer, but the writing was on the wall, I thought.
Yeah, let's go take a look at Albert's numbers. I mean, when he was in St. Louis, this guy was one of the best hitters on the planet. I mean,
yeah, he was hitting 328, 420 slugging, 420 on base. But in his last couple of years in St. Louis, if you really dive into it, he was already on the decline before he even left St. Louis. Now, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking bad about Albert. He's the first ballot. He's one of the greatest hitters that you'll ever come across in your life. But I'm just trying to point out these little trends you can find that it's been happening.
So let's look at his tenure with both teams. Obviously, 11 years with St. Louis, 10 years with the Angels. Okay, He had 445 homers in 11 years with St. Louis, 222 with the Angels. So significant drop off.
His best year in LA was 2012. That's the last time he had a good year, and even in that year, he batted 285, 30 home runs, 50 doubles.
2016, he hit 30 bombs, 119 RBI.
Yeah, everything else was down, though, besides 30 bombs and stuff. But
2019 showed a little bit of a comeback, 23 homers, 93 RBI. But, the thing that is concerning for me with Albert is, his OPS. His OPS is 300 points below where he was at in St. Louis. Yeah. 1,037 to 758 in LA. On base, down 100 points. Batting average, down 80 points. His strikeouts, everything is down. His slugging is down almost 200 points. His RBIs, he had 500 more RBIs in one more season than LA or in St. Louis. At the time, Albert Pujols was one of the best players in the MLB, and you could justify the Angels giving him that contract, but it just never worked. It didn't work out. It just hasn't worked out. Obviously, Jared Walsh has bursted onto the scene in LA. He's one of the best hitters in the league right now. Ohtani, like you said, I think he's leading the league in homers in the DH spot. So, and Albert kind of didn't want to put his pride to the side. He said he didn't.
Which he has the right. I mean, the guy's got the absolute right to demand this and demand the respect. So I don't fault him for the pride. I mean, the guy's earned it,
Right. But the guy's almost 42 years old. He's at the end of a lengthy Hall of Fame career. He had all of his milestones in an Angels uniform, like the 3,000 hit, 600 homer, 500 homer. Like he's got all those accolades, right? RBI. I think he's second all time in RBIs or something like that. But it's not the send off that I would have predicted for Albert. Like, you would have had like the stop in every city, like Derek Jeter did, kind of like a send off like that. I wasn't expecting him to get DFA'd. And like,
if you look at all the other legends and the tour around the major leagues, they got Derek Jeter and Rivera. These guys that every stadium they went to, they got an award, they got a trophy, they got a plaque. Right. It was like this love fest. And Albert shows up to the ballpark. The guy pitching for the Rays that night, he was 6 for 9 against in his career. He should have been in the lineup. I mean, come on. He looks at the card. He's not in the lineup. He goes right into Joe Maddon's office, and he basically, from the reports, USA Today reports, starts a screaming match with the GM was in there with Madden, and then later Madden said he walked out of the room. He wasn't a part of it. The guy deserved so much better, but just look at this Angels organization. Trout deserves so much better. Like, what is going on in LA that they treat someone like this, that they run Soch out of town, that they hire Joe Madden, who's supposed to be this player's savant and this nice guy, and everyone loves playing for him, and yet Albert Pujols still gets treated this way, and Mike Trout's still probably going to miss the playoffs. It's something's going on in LA, and as an Angels fan, I would be definitely irate today, because this is not the way you treat Albert. You're ruining Mike Trout's career. This organization, top to bottom, is just weird to me, man.
Yeah, the Angels have lost a lot of man games. They've been hurt a lot this year. So, I mean,
they're hurt all the time. So it's maybe the medical staff doesn't know what the hell they're doing. I don't, not to blame someone, but it's unbelievable. Mike Trout's been in the playoffs one time his entire career. He's got one hit out of 12 at-bats. That one hit was a home run, and he's got 3 losses. And that is the extent of the greatest player since Mickey Mantle's playoff success. Bringing Albert to them was supposed to help. Trout didn't work. Ohtani, amazing. Every time you turn on SportsCenter or TSN, it's that. And they show all these great highlights, and then you look, and the Angels lost by like 5 runs. You're like, oh, okay, cool. What happened?
Yeah, the Angels they went out and got Rendon. The problem with the Angels is it's going to be starting rotation, but actually their starters haven't even been that bad. I mean, you look at the stats. I think they got like a top. I think they're in the middle of the pack for starting rotation. Like it's not that bad. Their bullpen has blown them a lot of games lately.
I mean, when you just go look at every pitcher that's signed as a free agent, look at San Diego with Darvish and Snell. Look at New York, where they get the best pitcher in the game. Like LA is LA. They should be able in the market for these type of pitchers, and they just don't ever do it. Right. And it's going to ruin Mike Trout's legacy. Honestly, it is.
To wrap this up, do you think Albert Pujols signs elsewhere?
So obviously, everyone thinks American League team, which would make the most sense. But in Cincinnati, Mr. Canada himself, Joey Votto, just got hurt. That could be maybe a landing spot if he goes to the National League, because that's a first base spot he can get more reps at. He can still bat at. It's National League. He knows National League ball still. Yes, the pitchers are different than they were 11 years ago, but it's a game he's used to. So I could see the Reds or a team in the AL that's, looking for veteran leadership, like Oakland, something like that. I know Oakland doesn't really do that kind of stuff, but
we're all Baltimore.
Baltimore? Does he want to go play? I mean, does he want to play in Baltimore though, just to finish his season out, or
he just needs somewhere to go. Like he wants to hit 700 homers. Albert's been very open about that, and like with the media, he wants to hit 700 homers. He's 33 homers away, so why not go to Baltimore for the rest of the year, see if you can hit 20 homers this year, and if you can hit 1 more next year. Like if he wants
to hit homers, he should look at ballparks. He should look at where he's going to be playing. I mean, he went to LA. The Angels ballpark is one of the worst home run hitters parks out there. I mean, he went there for 11 years and still crushed. So if he goes to a better hitter's park, that could be an option maybe.
Yeah. Anything else on Albert before we move on?
No, I just 100% respect. As I played first base and DH my whole baseball career, 100% respect. The Cardinals are one of my least favorite organizations in the game, but he made me respect the Cardinals. That's how good he was. So all respect to Albert. I hope he lands somewhere, finishes out his career at least this year.
Yeah, no, Albert will definitely be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He'll probably go in with the Cardinals where he belongs. Let's talk about Luke Voigt. Luke Voigt tore his meniscus in spring training, has missed the start of this season. He's back today for the Yankees. That should be a big boost for the Bronx Bombers.
And that shores up first base for him too. So that's a one less spot Albert can maybe think about going. But what Voigt coming back also does is it also lets LeMahieu go back to second base, and they can get. I know Odor's hurt with the knee, but he was batting 160. He was batting 164. They could shore up their infield. They could fix the defense a little bit, and they could be a little better offensively. So Voigt coming back, the guy led the whole league in home runs last year in a shortened season. Guy crushed. I think he's one of the best first basemen in the game. This just makes New York, who's finally we trashed them 2 weeks ago. I know they didn't listen to our podcast, but they must listen to some other ones that were trashing them. They're good now. My MVP pick, Carlos Stanton, went on a little 2-week tear. Blake, what do you think about my boy?
We'll see. I still think that's an outlandish pick, but we'll have to definitely keep an eye on that. But like you mentioned, Luke Voigt, 22 homers, led the majors in homers last year, 52 RBI in 56 games. So this guy is a middle of the order bat. You can put him in there with LeMahieu, Judge, Stanton, and then you add Luke Voigt to that. This is a bat that the Yankees need back badly. He's a guy that came up clutch for them in a lot of moments last year for them. And, as a Jays fan, I'm not looking forward to facing him.
Yes, it's a bat back, but like I mentioned before, shoring up the infield, I think 3 or 4 different guys have played first base this season for New York. Second base has been kind of an issue. Now defensively, they can be more consistent. They can fix their lineup a little better. They can protect their bigger hitters. I know they have some guys that are still slumping big time, but they are scary as a Red Sox guy and a Blue Jays guy. I'm not scared. You should be scared, though.
Well, we'll see how long the Red Sox can last here.
I don't know. Best in the league? Maybe.
Stanton, 9 homers, 24 RBI. Aaron Judge, 7 homers. Aaron Hicks has struggled this year. What else we got here? Aaron Hicks hitting 198. DJ LeMahieu's back up to 281. He's kind of heating up lately. He only got 9 RBIs, but he has hit a lot of home runs in his past few games here. But Gary Sanchez, I don't know what the hell they're going to do. I just think they should name Hiroshi Oka their starting catcher, honestly, because he catches better than Gary, and he's batting 222, but they're not getting much punch out of that catcher spot. Combined, 8 homers, 14 RBI from that position, batting 205. They're not getting much punch out of that position, which is not very good from that standpoint. But Luke Voigt will definitely be a big boost to that team. Let's talk about Jared Kelenic, Seattle Mariners' top prospect. He's going to be called up on Thursday. Battled some knee problems at the start of spring training, but this guy's got a bright future and is going to be a big part of that Seattle Mariners club going forward.
Yeah, I think he's the number 4 prospect in all of the league, according to Keith Law in his top 100 prospects. So I think he was number 4. The Mariners, like I always mention every week, I watch them all the time. They have the worst batting average as a team in the league. Besides, they're tied with Cleveland, I think. Cleveland and the Mariners, they have the worst team batting average. I think it's at 210 or something like that. So him coming in, it hopefully gets that number up out of the basement. Solidifies left field. Great left fielder. Mariners fans, you're still above 500. You're still tied for second with the Astros in your division. So it's like your season's not over, and you're getting this guy, and it's just more exciting now. I think the way he hit down in the minors, I think he brings it out. I don't think he has any issue adjusting from just kind of the stuff I've read. I haven't seen him. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen him. I've just read about him, but we'll watch him when I'll put him on tonight or whenever their game is today or tomorrow, and I'll check him out.
In 5 games in AAA this year, 2 homers, 5 RBI, batting 409, 1100 OPS. So this guy is batting well in AAA, and they have called up like Alan Trammell. That's another top prospect who's been traded 3 times in the last 3 years. He was in Cincinnati, San Diego, now he's in Seattle. It's kind of weird to see a top 100 prospect traded 3 different times in 3 years, but they got obviously Kyle Lewis in that outfield along with Kalenic and now Trammell. Like that outfield has the potential to be very good.
Very good.
So
very good. Hopefully they can keep it together, for a few seasons, and all of a sudden Astros are down a little bit. They got, Seattle can be on the come up the next couple of years. I like them. I
like what Jerry Dipoto is doing. I think he's learned from his mistakes that he made with the Angels. He traded a lot of the Angels farm system and signed some big players, and it didn't work out for him. So now he's kind of taking the draft route, letting these players develop, bringing them up before, shipping them off, and, then they turn into stars sometimes. So
yeah, all he had to do was get out of the Angels system, right?
Yeah, I think
not to poop on him anymore.
I think he learned from his mistakes, though. Like, he was drafted. I mean, he drafted pretty well in Anaheim too, but I mean, he was quick to trade his prospects, and that really didn't work out for him. So, the last thing we'll talk about from Major League Baseball standpoint is the Jacob Degrom injury concern. I think he missed the start, and then he started.
Started through 5 innings or something like that, and then left with tightness.
He left in the 6th inning, and he had some side tightness in his oblique or lat area. So that's not good. That's not a baseball injury you want to get as a pitcher. I mean, you're moving around lots. Your torso is going a bunch of different directions. So I think that he is on the IL now, so he's going to miss minimum 10 days. But the Mets are going to be very careful with this because an oblique injury could turn into 3, 4, 5 weeks, and that's not something that the Mets want. So, like, what do you think they're going to do with him?
Well, this year we talked about this division being, tight, cluster, very competitive. Mm-hmm. They're going to. I want to say they want to bring him back sooner rather than later. But it's going to depend on what happens in the next 3 or 4 weeks. If they just absolutely fall out, like the Royals have fallen out, losing 9 in a row, if they just start losing 8, 9, 10 in a row, right, maybe they keep DeGrom, say, no, you know what? It's not worth it. Fans are going to be mad. That's a reason to go to the ballpark still. If DeGrom's not pitching, what's the pitching matchup you want to go see? I mean, there's a lot of other implications on it, but it's all going to depend on what the team does while he's out. If they just tank, man, we don't want to ruin the golden goose. I mean, his tightness probably came from lack of run support, in my opinion. But I know, I had to a little bit. But I've watched every start that he's made this year. I put it on, and it's just amazing to watch this guy work.
Must-watch TV.
What's that?
He's must-watch TV.
Must-watch TV. I mean, the way he throws, the way he gets – he's not a big dude. He's not a strong dude. He just – is a magician out there. I love it. I think it's going to depend on what the team does, how quick he comes back. If they still keep a good pace and they still keep in contention, I think he's back sooner rather than later.
Did you see the Lindor McNeil stuff?
Gee, it's New York, man. So sometimes you just you chalk it up to it being New York. But yeah, the raccoon running after it. It makes no sense to me. I said I ran in there. I said maybe Lindor saw a hit that someone left in the dugout and he wanted to go get it.
There's a moment in when Donaldson was with the Blue Jays and he got a heated argument with John Gibbons and the media asked him like what was going on with you and Gibby in the dugout. And Donaldson joked. He said, "Oh, I just got some new cologne." And Gibby came over. He asked what it was and took a whiff of it. And there's just like a made up story. I'm thinking that's something similar. Like the two players had a disagreement and they made up a funny story to the media. And
At least they picked some good animals, because in New York sometimes those rats can get to be the size of raccoons,
yeah,
bro.
exactly.
So
But
it's not a good look for City Field or whatever they call it now. It's not a good look that they got rats in their field already, but odds are there wasn't anything there.
Francisco Lindor, let's talk about him for a second here, because it hasn't gone the way that he's planned. He just signed a 10-year deal. He's batting 194, 2 home runs. Up until the last couple days, he was like over his last 25. He was getting booed from Mets faithful. You're there for another 10 years. Probably not ideal to be getting booed in your first year.
I'm still not concerned. Yeah, I made fun of him, for trying to look for a hit in the dugout. I'm not concerned. I love the way that guy plays. He still shows up. Hits are gonna come. That division is, and the pitchers, he's not 100% around used to. He's gonna have to put in more work in New York, though. You got the spotlight on you, no matter what. If you're a Yankee or a Met, you're gonna have to put more. He goes 0 for 20 on a 10-year deal, and that 10-year deal was in Miami. Let's say, I know Miami would never sign a guy like that, but if he signed a 10-year deal in Miami, I mean, it wouldn't be a real issue. So he's just got to stay the course. I like him as a player.
Yeah. Let's shift over to the NHL here. Let's talk about some potential playoff matchups. Let's start in the Honda West. We're going to have Vegas versus, actually, Colorado could.
This division is still, right now, it's they got him against St. Louis, but it could switch. It could flip.
Well, if Colorado wins their next two and Vegas loses the last game.
Because Colorado's got games in hand, I believe.
Colorado's got 1 game in hand, 2 points back. So that could flip.
Which would be huge, because Minnesota, for some reason, has got Vegas. They got their number a little bit.
Yeah, they're 6-2 in their last 8 against them. So
that flip could be huge. Right now, it's still set up as Vegas St. Louis, but if it flips, man, that series might turn into a great one.
It could. That's definitely keep an eye on. I think Colorado Minnesota would be a good series too. I think Vegas would steamroll Minnesota for some reason.
I don't think so.
I
only thing is Vegas. The owner of the team tweeted out that they got a secret weapon they're going to announce soon, and that secret weapon is
they got a
full crowd.
Like that's going to be a major advantage.
It's going to be huge, because Minnesota's not full crowd. They're not letting people in their full crowd yet.
Vegas is – that place rocks in the playoffs. Like, that place is packed, sold out. It's loud. Yep. That's going to be a big advantage for Vegas playing in front of a sold-out crowd, because nobody's done it this year. I mean, maybe there's a couple teams that are full capacity, but
I thought the most capacity was like the Stars had almost full, but I weren't sure. Yeah.
Let's go to the Central.
Let's just start looking at what we can look at here.
Carolina is going to play Nashville first round, and you're going to have a battle between the two Florida teams. It's going to be Florida Panthers versus Tampa Bay Lightning. And
so we're both in agreement that Florida series is going to be great. But so let's save that one. We'll talk a little longer about it. Let's go Carolina Nashville. The only question I have in that series is who's going to play in net for Carolina. Do you have any idea?
It'll probably be Mrazek, if I had to guess.
He's back. I mean, he was hurt for a little bit. He's back. Right. But the other kid hasn't been playing too bad.
I forgot to say his name. Starts with an N.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are. I mean, Carolina's 6-2 against Nashville. It's just Nashville. We had them dead earlier in the year. They surprised all of us. Their coach should be coached in consideration for coach of the year, because that team was down and out, ready to sell at the deadline, and all of a sudden they're here now. It's actually a pretty cool story in Nashville, but I don't think they can do it. I just depends on what goalie they get against Carolina.
Let's talk about Florida Tampa, and I guess serious debate here is
who you got in the. Come on, first, who you got? Carolina Nashville, bud.
We're not doing predictions this episode.
Okay.
That's gonna be next week.
We'll tease everyone. Predictions.
Who do you start in net for Florida? That's a serious question, because you're giving Bobrovsky $10 million, but Drieger's 20-5 this year.
I think they go with Drieger. I trust Quenneville. I think he'll pick the right. I think he'll pick the right dude. This series is all going to depend on who is in the lineup for either team. Who is in that? Like, you don't know who's 100% going to be healthy in Tampa. You don't know the goalie. There's so much intrigue. These games could be 9-7, or they could be 1-0. Like, this is a great series. In my opinion, Sam Bennett's hot as a rocket right now. 13 points in 9 games since he came over.
He's on the top.
He's one to watch in this.
Barkov.
Yeah. He's Florida's got 5-2-1 against Tampa, but they haven't faced like 100% full Tampa squad yet. You know, they just throttled them the other day, but there was no Stamkos on the ice. Kucherov wasn't on the ice. So it's just like who's going to be on the ice for Tampa will change. Like, and it could change game to game. You have no idea. Like, Stamkos could come game 2. He could play game 1. Like, it's going to be great, in my opinion. It's a great series. I mean, it sucks that it's, in Florida and not in a, big market, or a bigger market than St. Petersburg, wherever the hell Panthers play. But there'll be fans in the building. It's Florida. They'll let them all in. They're going to have a good time. They're going to party at Ferg's Live outside Tampa right there. Like,
let's go to the East here. I picked Pittsburgh to miss the playoffs this year. That was a brutal prediction on my part, but they clinched that division 37-16-3. Unbelievable season.
22 wins at home. This team's unbelievable at home.
Right, and they're going to have home ice and up until the conference final if they get there, but it looks like they're going to be playing the Islanders first round, kind of a rematch of a couple of years ago.
Islanders swept them then, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They swept them. And then you're going to have a Boston-Washington series, which could be very entertaining. That series has the making of being really good. What was I going to say? Taylor Hall's been on fire since he's gotten traded to the Bruins. He had an OT winner against the Islanders last night. Nasty goal, but the Rangers, Philly missed the playoffs. That's maybe a little disappointing if you're a fan of those teams. But this was a very competitive division up until the end. I mean, I think the 4 right teams made it. These are the teams that deserve to make it in this division, and I think this Pittsburgh Islanders series could go either way. Like I think it's going to be close.
The cool, kind of like the quirky thing with the schedule this year is these teams haven't played each other in so long. Mm-hmm. So you can't really look at like, oh, they played on March 29th was the last time I think they played, March 29th. You can't go look at those games because this team is, I mean, it's May, like it's middle of May, bro. Like they're 2 different squads. Malkin, you don't know how healthy Malkin is still. The only thing is Islanders can't score goals, dude. They're just kind of when it comes to actually putting up offensive numbers. Yeah. But it's intriguing only because they haven't played each other in so long that it's almost going to be like this weird get-to-know-you phase again, game 1, game 2, and then it could get nasty right away. But I was going to give my prediction. We're waiting on that. But do we know on Malkin? I know he left Saturday's game again. Do we know if he's healthy?
Yeah,
I haven't really read much.
I haven't saw anything on that. I think he's just day-to-day right now. That's what they're going with. But
I think they're just holding them out until the playoffs started. So they said, "Oh, you got a little bump on Saturday. Let's just hold them out until we can get going on the 15th or whenever the playoffs start."
Let's go over to the North.
Anything on Bruins Caps though? You want to talk? I mean, Kucherov, Samsonov. These guys are breaking COVID protocol. Tom Wilson with his drama. Is Ovechkin healthy?
Because that is the biggest bullshit I've ever seen.
Which one you broke up there? Your Canadian internet's no good.
My internet's trash here. I'm talking about Kucherov. That's such bullshit because he's making $9.5 million. He's been skating for the last month and a half, and now all of a sudden playoffs come around, the cap goes out the window, and all of a sudden this guy is back. Like, the NHL needs to do something about that because there's no way you should just be able to add $9.5 million to your team. They're way over the cap right now. They have like if you go in cap friendly, they have so much on LTIR right now. It's like $15 million. It's ridiculous. So that's
for the NHL. We could speak like all day on what the NHL needs to do. It needs to do this. It needs to do that. The NHL hasn't made a good decision in like 4 years, bro. So I don't know if I got confidence in him.
I think that loophole is going to change in the next CBA, though. Like, I really think that's going to be a talking point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The players aren't going to want to give up that new CBA. They're not going to give up, but they got to be able to find more than $5,000. That's got to be a new market, a new deal that they got to put in there because $5,000 is nothing to these boys.
Yeah, they wiped their ass with $5 million.
Yeah.
So let's go.
And also we got the Chara playing his old team. I mean, that series is going to be like the drama TikTok, Instagram series where like the real like good banging series is going to be like the Florida series. Like, so if you want the drama and the TikTok, you watch that Washington series. You want like just straight up like talented hockey up and down the ice. You're going to want to watch Florida. So you can get a little bit of both, right?
Right. North, we got Toronto, who clinched their division.
First division title in 21 years. And they had to change divisions to win it, by the way.
Like changing the whole division and making it 56 games to win. But I am not putting my pride aside. I am not rooting for Toronto. I don't care that Canada doesn't have a cup since '93. I am not rooting for this team because their fans are so arrogant. They think they're the shit. They haven't won a playoff series since '04. They've been a joke most of my lifetime up until the last 5 years where they've been somewhat relevant. But if you're Montreal and you're playing Toronto and you get Gallagher back, you get Price back, you get Weber back, you get Drouin back, careful what you wish for because, I mean, they asked the Pittsburgh Penguins last year. I mean, Montreal dusted them off relatively quick. And if Montreal gets a healthy Carey Price and a healthy Gallagher, this team could upset the Leafs in the first round.
So the only you love Carey Price, and that's great. He's one of the greatest, goaltenders to do it and all of that stuff. And yeah, he could get hot, and Toronto could lose a hot goalie. But like half of the reason is that atmosphere in Montreal when there's fans in the building. It's playoff season in Montreal, just brings it, bro. Mm-hmm. But now Toronto gets to walk into that building and hear crickets. Mm-hmm. Like, I know it's cliche. Everyone plays in an empty building now, in Canada, but like you got to factor that in that they're not going to have to deal with, fans on top of them. The Montreal atmosphere is screaming, keeping Carey Price hot. I mean, this team is six. I mean, this team is so much better than Montreal. I don't see it happening, dude. But more kudos to Carey Price if he can do it to Montreal. But
Toronto has a track record of choking in the playoffs.
They do. We 100% agree.
They have to prove it. They have to prove that they can get it done.
Their penalty kill needs to be a little better. They'll give up some goals. So guys like Toffoli and those boys and Cole Caulfield, bringing in some spark. Their penalty kill's not great, so they got a disadvantage there. Foligno, Hyman, they're a little hurt still. Are they going to play? I still think it's over. I won't give my prediction. I still think it's not going to be too much of a series, but hopefully we get all these series go 7 games, right?
And this is a non-Toffoli podcast, so just so you know.
Hey, we still haven't mentioned the team up north of Seattle yet. We're gonna stay away from the northern team up north from Seattle.
They're already trolling the Canucks. And
just go to the Kraken Twitter, bro. It's good stuff. The I-5 rivalry is hot.
Unbelievable. Montreal could leapfrog Winnipeg if they win their next 2 games, or if they win their next game and Winnipeg loses their final games. Winnipeg can clinch 3rd place with a win over the Canucks tonight. So you're looking at Edmonton playing Winnipeg most likely. Winnipeg is limping into the playoffs. 1-9 their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. They just lost to the last place Canucks last night, 3-1. Like, this team is good on paper, but man, like they picked the wrong time to get cold.
And they're going to end up playing a team that is has won 7 of the 9 games against them.
And has a player on the planet on their team. Like, David, 100 points in 52 games. Unbelievable, dude. Like, what this guy is doing. So me and Brad did a podcast last night, and Brad goes to me, Connor McDavid will never touch Gretzky. I was like, okay, hold on. Let's do some math. I said, So, if you had to guess, what points per game was Gretzky on? If you had to guess, like, what
I
is
think he was. I mean, he had to be over a point. I think it was 1.2, 1.3.
1.2? Okay,
Yeah,
Gretzky was
1.2. Yeah.
1.2. If you had to guess the pace that McDavid is on right now, what would you say?
Well, I mean, obviously it's going to be over. I bet it's 1.4.
Right, you're exactly right. 1.4.
Yeah.
It's like you listen to the podcast. But
And I want to say this. I don't know if you talked about with Brad. A lot of people talking about Connor doing this against a pretty crappy division. I'm like, well, Connor would normally be in a division with Arizona and San Jose. That division is just as crappy at the bottom end as the North Division is now. Like,
right.
And you didn't play the whole league. I'm like, yeah, it means you didn't get to play against the really other bad teams too. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, he's got Draisaitl. I'm like, okay, so either he passes to Draisaitl and creates more space, or he doesn't pass to Draisaitl, and they have to respect him. It doesn't matter. This kid would do it against anybody.
Right.
I love the kid. I honestly, he's got the Mike Trout syndrome. He's got to get out of where he's at. He needs to be in a different uniform, dude. And I'll never ever, say otherwise. I mean, look, he's not Gretzky because Gretzky won cups in Edmonton, but no one else can. Yes, he could surpass him, but I don't know. I give David all the respect in the world. The kid is amazing. He's probably mathematically, you're right, going to do it, but
I don't
cups, dude.
His goals, but I think he could. I really opened up Brad's eyes last night when he said that McDavid was on a 1.4 pace. It kind of killed him inside because he thought that argument was he was going to win that argument. I was like, there's no way. Like, he's on pace to shatter his record for points. He's on pace for 3,000 points. Gretzky had 20.
And he's got and the Evans has got a Vezina caliber goalie now. Finally, that's playing hot. So I mean, they can make can they beat? Can they beat Toronto? You know what I mean? That's the one question. Beat Toronto and then come to America and play in front of some fans at a random building.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not putting my pride on the line and picking Toronto to come out of the North. I can't do that. I chirp this team every single day. So
hey, at least you're consistent.
I would look like a fool if I pick him to come out of the North because that's just I'm not doing it. I can't do it.
At least you're consistent. So I'll take it. But
that'll do it for episode 5 of the Pucks and Pine Tar podcast.
We got anything on the breaking stuff on Oakland? Maybe getting out of Dodge.
Right, yeah. Let's talk about that here for a second. The Oakland A's.
Can't forget.
I totally forgot about that. The Oakland A's talking about relocating potentially to Vegas. I mean, you look at Oakland; they lost the Raiders. The Warriors just moved to San Francisco, and now they're talking about the A's moving out of there. Like, that's tough for some Oakland A's fans.
That city deserves something, man. They deserve. I don't get it. I've been to Oakland. I haven't been to the stadium, but I've been to Oakland. To lose the Raiders, to lose the Warriors, and now the A's, and especially to lose them to two teams to Vegas, bro, where it's like Vegas is a tourist town. Like, Oakland's that's what it's about, man. Like, that stadium, you can just Google pictures of that stadium and like toilets overflowing and poop everywhere and the bad food and the mold. Like, that city just won't build anyone a new stadium. Right. They just won't do it. And I know there's a whole thing on, well, taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for this. These billionaire owners should pay for this. I'm like, Oakland's not owned by the Steinbrenners, bro. It's not like it's Jerry owning the Dallas Cowboys that just this guy's got. It's different. And Oakland, I mean, they got San Francisco right there. So they got this huge tech city with all this money, and then you cross the bridge and it's like nothing. But if you dive deep into Oakland, it's got way more culture than San Francisco, way better music scene, way better, like just way better. I don't get it, man. And moving to Vegas, what are your thoughts on Vegas for a baseball team? What are your thoughts?
If I was to move a team to any city, Nashville would be at the top of my list. Because
Nashville's huge.
Nashville, the only team they have the Tennessee Titans, but they're not in Nashville. They're outside of Nashville, right?
Yep.
Only team they have in Nashville is the Nashville Predators. So, like, they could use another pro team there. I think Nashville would be a hot spot. Montreal could probably get a team. Vancouver.
Bro, Canada's not getting any more teams, bro.
I know, but do you think like Vancouver or Montreal could support a MLB team?
So I actually, before we started this podcast a couple of months ago, there was talk, and the MLB actually, before the pandemic, was up here touring, up here looking at possibilities. I know the Vancouver Canadians, the affiliate of the Blue Jays, they play here. They do pretty well in their games. But I don't think these leagues are going to give Canada any more teams because of the way they're handling this pandemic, the way they're refusing to let players that are vaccinated go play in the Toronto Dome. They can't even play Blue Jays games there. It's going to start making these leagues mad. And it's going to start making the owners of these teams in Canada mad because they look at Vegas at full capacity, making cha-ching. Right. Meanwhile, Toronto, who normally makes the most money, one of the most money in the league, is making zero, actually losing money. Eventually, they have to stop. And so there's going to be this blowback. You bring up Nashville. It's a great one. I sticking in the Pacific Northwest. Portland had a super crazy baseball history. If you go look, there's a documentary on it. What's his name? There's a famous actor that went and played there. Portland, I can't remember the name of it, but they loved it, man. I'll look it up. It was Kurt Russell was the actor, I believe. They had this. It's on Netflix, a documentary about it. But I think Portland would be good because it keeps them on the West Coast. It's still got natural rivals with Seattle. And it still has natural rivals with all the rest of the American League teams there. So Portland might be kind of a cool option. Now there's no stadium there. So it's going to have to be places that have the money to build a stadium. Does Portland have the money? I know Nashville does. So Portland could be a cool option for me. But I want them to stay in Oakland, obviously.
Yeah. That'll do it for episode 5 of the Pucks and Pie Entire podcast. We're going to do a NHL playoffs predictions episode next week.
We'll throw out our predictions on Twitter so we won't be lying.
Yeah, because the couple of series are going to start before Vancouver and Calgary play 5 games, and there's going to be playoff hockey going on. I think the Boston Capitals series starts on Saturday, so that's right around the corner. But yeah, we'll get this out tomorrow on YouTube and iTunes, Spotify. If you guys could subscribe to that. We'd greatly appreciate that. And take care, guys.
Yep. See ya.